Well, good evening, guys. You've already read the title of the video, so you probably have a fair idea what this video is about. It's about the 550 Firecord. You know, before I get into that, though, I would just want to take a second to thank my buddy, Mike Travis. He sent this to me as a gift for Christmas, and I have to be honest and say here that over the past few years on Facebook, in the past, I don't know, 12, 13 months that I've been on YouTube, or at least actively posting to YouTube anyway, I've met some amazing people. I've made some dear friends, and it's really cool how the online environment in this day and age can actually facilitate real friendships as opposed to just, you know, the quote unquote just associations through various hobbies. So Mike, buddy, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's have some fun with this. Now, on to the task at hand. As you guys can see, this is already opened. I've already played with this stuff, actually a fair amount. This is actually the second time I filmed this video. There wasn't really anything wrong with the first time I filmed this. I've already based an opinion on it. I tried to think of a few things that I haven't seen done with this stuff, and just to try it out, and that also kind of fits my personality, my skill set, and my focus in the whole bushcraft survival type niche, I guess. So anyway, I'm just trying to take it in a different direction to kind of add to the versatility of this product. So anyway, all right, as part of our first test, I have, where is it? Right there. This is, it's got a little bit of pocket lint in it. This is 14 inches of the Firecord pulled out of the paracord. Okay, now I want to show you something. It's pretty cool. I had this idea, I forget which review, I think it was Justin Wolf's review. I had a thought about a possibility with this stuff. Now, as you can see on that side, that red fiber, it still has the Firecord on that end. This end, as you guys know, paracord stretches. There's none of that red fiber in there. Well, one of the criticisms that I've read is you have to cut this apart and rendering X amount. So, I mean, say you need, you know, 12 inches or 6 inches of your Firecord to, you know, make a fire in an emergency situation, or, you know, in a situation where you just want to use it to make a fire. So you ruin, or you lose that amount of cordage. Well, the thing is, I had a thought. Split it. And I cut just a little bit of the outside and took the toothpick and my Swiss Army knife and pulled that Firecord fiber out of there. Now, I mean, obviously with the outside of this compromised, it's not going to be, you know, as secure or as load-bearing as it would be if it was whole or structurally whole. But you still have, I mean, this would be plenty good for lashings or, you know, anything like that. You know, it's not going to be load-bearing. I wouldn't want to trust it with my weight or anything, but you still have usable cordage. So, you know, you keep that 12 or 14 inches of that piece I just showed you. So that's one of the cool things about this that I found out so far, or figured out so far. All right. So, before we take this, or make this too terribly long, let's go ahead and jump right into my first test, or tryout, so to speak. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, so it's going to be kind of fun. Hang on. Alright, gang, first test, I guess. Test in quotes. It's kind of two-part. I've got some cottonwood shavings right down here, just out of frame, which will be in frame here as soon as I get a coal on this cottonwood blow drill set. But a lot of this is about this cordage. Typically I use bank line for a bow drill set, but when I first got into doing bow drill, I used paracord exclusively, just because I didn't have easy access to bank line. So just kind of want to figure out and see how well this holds up, as I've tried, I don't know how many different brands or particular types of paracord, and I would say probably 75% of them will last, I don't know, I'm gonna guess, I never really paid attention, but just for a few bow drill coals, I guess. So let's see how this holds up. They're the outer casing. It usually the ones that didn't last, they would just start to shred and turn into fiber. So let's see, as an emergency cordage, how this stuff holds up. Alright. Alright guys, coal number 3. This will be the last time I try. I'll be honest, the Firecord feels waxy, but it doesn't feel that waxy. But as soon as you start to blow on it, the waxy or whatever petroleum product is on that cord starts to melt and basically snuffs the coal. So yeah, anyway, let's try this again. Last time. It burned through my leaf. All right. I lost my coal. Back here. Alright guys, well that was kind of a gimmicky thing. Obviously it didn't work. But the main point that I wanted to test, which is actually because it didn't work, it actually helped the test. I wanted to see how well the cordage held up to actually being used as a bow drill bow. So let me get this cord off here and I'll show you. Alright. Honestly, I realize it's getting kind of dark. It's got kind of shiny, which is normal. But after 3 bow drill attempts, this will be the first paracord that I've used that does not have any breakdown of the fiber visible. So that's a win right there, because that is actually what I was wanting to test. Alright guys, we've all seen this stuff burn, but might as well, right? Pretty good. Makes starting a fire with a ferro rod easy. Don't really even have to worry about tinder prep that much. I mean, it took right off. Not bad at all. Alright guys, here we have, excuse me, one piece with a fire cord, one piece without. Let's compare the burn. Huh? one with the Firecord burns much faster and much hotter, as my fingers can attest to. Here we have about 12 inches, well, make that 10 inches. Now, 5 inches on either side of my hands. Natural tendency, at least for guys like me, is to break this stuff down by hand. I tell you guys, it's a pain. You'd think it'd be about like jute twine, but it's not. Now, I would like to point out, if you read the instructions, this is not how you're supposed to do it. Now, if your hands were cold and wet, yeah, this wouldn't work out very well. Alright, so there's about where you get it by your hands. Let's do it by the instructions. Supposed to scrape it with your knife to break the fibers down, and I can already see why the instructions state to do it this way. We're guys, we're not supposed to read the instructions. Why do I know this? Now I'm doing it a little bit different. It says to scrape along like this, whereas I'm pulling the fibers out. And I wonder if I had done this for the bow drill, if it may have actually worked. It'll be an experiment for a future time, but like I said, that was kind of gimmicky. That wasn't really what I was trying to test there, so. Alright. Let's see how these catch and burn. Alright, let's do the hand processed one first. Alright, 4 strikes I think. See how long that burns. Alright, that's just about done. I don't want to ruin this hearthboard. So we'll call that 2 minutes or so. One strike. Guess it pays to read the instructions. Hand processed stuff seems to burn a lot longer. Either way, you got about 90 seconds of flame to get your other tender processed. Alright, on to the next one. Alright gang, I realize it's getting kind of dark. What you see right here is a taut line hitch. One of the other things that I like my paracord to do, which is honestly doesn't always work that way. I like it to bind on itself like a regular rope does on a taut line, just as like an emergency hammock or something like that, just so you can put a full amount of body's weight on it and it actually bind. Now I realize a lot of folks would say there's a better knot, but this is just what I was taught in the Boy Scouts, and yeah, it's what I like to use. So anyway, well, it gave a little bit. Nope, it gave a lot of bit. Alright. Well, so it does not pass out. Alright guys, perfect timing. Last test. If you can see this. But this has been soaking for a little while. This is by request. A buddy of mine wanted to see how it would burn in the casing after it's soaked for a little while. So let's just see. Definitely a slower start. There we go. Maybe. So with perseverance, it still does pretty darn well. I'm actually impressed. Alright. Alright guys, well, let's just to kind of wrap up that overview or review or whatnot of the 550 Firecord. This stuff right here. Mike, again, thank you very much, man. It was a great surprise to find this thing under the tree on Christmas morning. My wife did good. She made the assumption that this was for me for Christmas, and it was a blessing, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. As to the review or the cord itself, it pretty much did like I expected. I honestly thought I would be able to get fire with it with a bow drill. It didn't. When you feel it with your hand, the actual the red fiber itself, it doesn't feel that waxy. But once it starts to heat up, whatever they put in there really starts to melt down. It doesn't really pool, but it starts to smother that coal, and it didn't take. But the whole reason for the bow drill itself was to see how the cord held up to the friction of constant rubbing against that spindle. And it did really well, probably as good or better than any other paracord I've ever used for a bow drill. So I did 3 bow drill coals with it, and every other single paracord that I have used will show signs of wear. It'll show the little fuzz on the cord itself as the fibers are already starting to break down, which is why I prefer bankline. So that is a definite win. A negative, the casing is slick enough that it won't bind on a taut line. Now I realize there's better knots, but you know, I'm old school, I guess. That's what I learned in the Boy Scouts. You know, whatever. I like my paracord to bind on the taut line under extreme weight, or sort of extreme weight. I'm 180 pounds, give or take, and me stepping on it, it held. But if I started bouncing up and down on it, it gave way. So that's a negative. But to be fair, by and large, 75% of all paracord I've ever used does the same thing. So negative or not, I don't know. I mean, it's subjective, I guess. Starts with a ferro rod really easily. To break down the fiber by hand, it's a little bit slow. If you're really cold, if you're wet, you know, your fingers are not really going to have the dexterity to break it down really well. But if you follow the directions, it's monkey proof. So, you know, that's a plus. Follow the directions, just scrape it off, and it does really, really well. I kind of wish it had a longer burn time. I feel like the directions say, I believe, 6 inches of the little red fiber or fire cord to use. In an emergency, when you're cold, wet, need a fire right now, I'm not sure 6 inches would do it, especially if your secondary tinder is damp. It doesn't last that long, 60, 90 seconds, something like that. So you may have to use more, I don't know. It bears playing with, really. Overall, the way I look at this is, I mean, you don't want to go tearing into your cordage just to make fire. So this isn't a regular use item. I look at this as a backup to your backup to your backup. I go out in the woods, and quite honestly, this is the first time in months that I've used a man-made fire starter in 4 years. So I'm not bragging, I'm just saying my focus when I go out to start a fire is strictly to use natural materials. Just because it stretches me, stretches my skill set, stretches my abilities, and makes me learn. So that is my first go-to, find what's around me to start a fire. And then secondary is the dry tinder I have with me. Third is a stick of fat wood that I carry with me. And then, you know, if all else fails, then maybe I'd break into this. So that's all I'm saying. But anyway, take it for what you will. Mike, again, thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. This is a good product. I actually have more on the way. I've already ordered it. Trekker Outdoors, they sell it. It's a good price. Good company to work with. Very easy, very friendly. I'm actually going to redo my bracelet that I carry all the time, the Cobra Weave bracelet you guys have seen before. I'm actually going to redo it. And this just as, like I said, a backup to your backup to your backup. So, good product. Overall, I like it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Mike, thank you for the gift, man. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.